In November 2007, the peaceful hillside town of Perugia, Italy, would become the center of one of the most polarizing and internationally debated murder cases in modern history. A case involving two young college students, a brutal killing behind a locked door, conflicting stories, and a media storm that would grow into a global obsession. 21-year-old British student Meredith Kercher had been living her dream studying abroad. She shared an apartment with other international students, including an American, Amanda Knox, who would soon become the focus of the investigation, the press, and the world. This is the story of the murder of Meredith Kercher, the investigation that spiraled out of control, and the years-long fight over who was truly responsible. Meredith Kercher was smart, warm, and deeply loved by her family in London. She had arrived in Perugia in September 2007, excited to start her year abroad. Amanda Knox, a 20-year-old student from Seattle, arrived around the same time. She was friendly, carefree, social, the kind of person who smiled easily. They lived together in a small cottage shared with two Italian roommates. Life was ordinary, peaceful. The young women studied, cooked, went out with friends, and explored the ancient city. But beneath the surface, Amanda and Meredith lived very different lifestyles. Amanda had quickly gained a new boyfriend, Rafael Solicito, a 23-year-old computer engineering student. She spent many nights at his apartment, sometimes leaving the cottage empty. Meanwhile, Meredith spent more time with her British and Italian friends. By late October, the two roommates were friendly, but not close. They were still, in many ways, strangers. Their lives intersected only briefly. Before everything changed, November 1st, 2007, Italy was celebrating a national holiday, All Saints' Day. Most students were out of town. Meredith spent the evening watching a movie at a friend's house. She returned home around 9 p.m. Amanda Knox, meanwhile, was at Raphael's apartment across town. The next morning, Amanda returned to the cottage and immediately sensed something was wrong. A window had been smashed. A few drops of blood were in the bathroom sink, and Meredith's bedroom door was locked, something she never did. Amanda called Raphael, and soon they called the police. Inside, they found Meredith Kercher brutally murdered. Her throat had been cut. Signs of struggle were everywhere. But strangely, nothing in the room suggested a typical burglary, and for investigators, the locked door was the first clue that this crime was more than it seemed. The murder of a young British woman in an Italian college town was already major news. But once the media discovered Amanda Knox, the American roommate with a quirky personality, the story exploded. The press transformed Amanda Knox from a foreign student into a global fascination. Her behavior became front-page analysis. She laughed at the police station. She did a cartwheel while waiting for questioning. She kissed her boyfriend outside the cottage. To investigators and the media, these behaviors seemed suspicious. But to others, they were simply the nervous reactions of a young woman in shock. The case was no longer about evidence. It was about image. Police began questioning Amanda intensely. She was kept for hours without a lawyer. Her Italian was poor. Her statements shifted, confused, contradictory. Then came the bombshell. Amanda implicated another man, her boss at a bar, Patrick Lumumba, in what she described as a dreamlike memory. But Patrick had an airtight alibi. He was innocent. Amanda later said the statement was coerced under pressure and exhaustion. Still, Amanda and Raphael became prime suspects. They were arrested for murder. But there was someone else, someone police had overlooked. Rudy Herman Guede, a 20-year-old drifter with a history of break-ins. His fingerprints and DNA were found inside Meredith's bedroom. He fled Italy, was caught in Germany, and eventually admitted to being in the cottage that night. But he insisted he wasn't the killer. The prosecutor, Giuliano Mignini, didn't abandon his theory. Instead, he expanded it. A three-person attack: Rudy Guede, Amanda Knox, and Rafael Solicito. In 2009, Amanda Knox and Rafael Solicito's trial began. It was one of the most heavily covered trials in Italian history. Prosecutors argued the crime was the result of jealousy, drugs, and a sexual game gone wrong. Journalists repeated these claims without evidence. Defense attorneys countered, there was no DNA of Amanda or Raphael in Meredith's locked room, only Rudy Gede's. Still, the jury convicted them. Amanda was sentenced to 26 years, Raphael 25. Amanda Knox cried as she was led away. Many believed justice had been served, but others sensed the story wasn't over. 2 years later, the case returned to court. Independent forensic experts examined the DNA on the alleged murder weapon, a kitchen knife taken from Raphael's apartment. Their conclusions shocked Italy. The DNA evidence used to convict Amanda and Raphael was unreliable, contaminated, mishandled. In 2011, the appeals court overturned the convictions. Amanda and Raphael walked free after 4 years in prison. But the story didn't end there. In 2014, Italy's highest court ordered another trial. Amanda and Raphael were convicted again. But finally, in 2015, 8 years after the murder, the Italian Supreme Court fully exonerated them. Their ruling was scathing, calling the investigation marked by glaring errors, complete lack of evidence, unfounded. Rudy Gede remained the only convicted killer. The murder of Meredith Kercher remains one of the most contested true crime cases of the past 2 decades. Meredith's family continues to mourn her loss and seek clarity. Amanda Knox rebuilt her life, became a writer, and now speaks about wrongful convictions. Raffaele Solitito also wrote a memoir and advocates for justice reform. But to this day, people across the world remain divided. Some believe the courts got it right in the end. Others still question what truly happened that night. One truth remains. A young woman lost her life far from home. A family lost a daughter. And the case of Meredith Kercher continues to echo, not just through courtrooms and newsrooms, but in the ongoing conversation about justice, media influence, and the human cost of sensationalism.